What's up, guys? It is Sterling here, and I am back for another video. This video is going to cover the misquotes, and not just misquotes, but in using a quote, completely giving a false representation of what that quote actually says. And this for me was a really big eye-opener, because in the witnesses, if you're a witness right now, I was born and raised a witness. I left the organization when I was 31, but when you're a witness, you have implicit trust. You believe it's, God, Jesus, because witnesses believe they're, separate entities, God, Jesus, and then there's the governing body, which is, right now, it's 8 men in New York that dictate everything 8 million people do. All the way down to things like back in the 70s and 80s, they dictate whether you can have oral sex, just crazy things that the Watchtower, they feel like they have dominion over. And all the beliefs and things, yeah, there's some crazy stuff in there, but what really had a big part in waking me up is when I saw how they're flat out lying. Not just wrong, because, things they're wrong on. This is a big one. It's a big boy. That was a big one. A generation that saw the events of 1914 will not pass away. Well, guess what, buddy? They gone. And if you were my age, I'm 33, if you're anywhere around my age, then you also were told that. You were told that the generation that saw the events of 1914 would not pass away, for all that Jesus had said would come true. And that, again, it started to wake me up, but seeing the lying, seeing the flat out blatant lying was the big one. The one that really stuck out to me was on the cross. And what we'll do here is we'll look at the reasoning from the Scriptures book. This is a book that, for example, I had it in the back of my Bible. Witnesses for many years would have the Bible, then they'd have the reasoning from the Scriptures bound with the Bible, because it's, they went hand in hand together. If you want to argue witness doctrine, that's what that book will allow you to do with the Bible, because you can make the Bible say whatever you want. That's why all these religions believe different things. They've interpreted it slightly different ways. I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way. I'm just saying that's why there's these different religions. So that's one thing, but lying is a whole nother thing. So we'll start here with the cross. And what the Watchtower does is on one hand, they'll say that experts, are you going to agree with the so-called experts? They downplay experts when they want to, and I could find many examples of that. But one of the things they do as well is they know that any reasonable person trusts an expert in a field. If they've been if they've been a doctor for 20, 30, 40 years, you're going to trust them over your own opinion. If they've studied ancient Egypt for 30, 40 years, well, you're going to trust them on that subject. So Watchtower knows this, and therefore they quote from experts when it suits what they want to do, or what they're trying to say. And in this case, they quote from the Imperial Bible Dictionary. And they say, in reference to the Imperial Bible Dictionary, it says the Imperial Bible Dictionary acknowledges this, saying, the Greek word for cross, stauros, properly signified a stake, an upright pole, a piece of paling, on which anything might be hung, or which might be used in impaling, fencing in a piece of ground. So they're saying that, hey, we're the only ones that say Jesus died on a stake. And guess what? Even you filthy Catholics agree with us, I'm not being serious there, but witnesses have a pretty strong dislike for Catholics. Goes back years. If you're a witness, if you're new, go read some of the literature from the 40s, 50s, 60s. It's crazy. In every article, they're bashing the Catholics, but another story. So anyways, they dot you right here. They give you your ellipsis there. Now, with Watchtower, you really got to watch those. You got to watch those because that's usually where the goods are. But what's really interesting about this is, as we continue, it goes on to say, even amongst the Romans, the crux, from which our cross is derived, appears to have been originally an upright pole. You notice how that right there is a period? Well, the actual quote, that's a comma. And what comes after? Well, what comes after, you can see why there's a period there in this situation. So let's go to the actual quote. I would encourage you not to believe anything I have to say. I'm just a filthy scumbag apostate. Go look this up for yourself, guys. Go to Google, type in Imperial Bible Dictionary, PDF online. You will find this. or go buy it for yourself if you don't believe the online version. What it says is it starts off here with cross. So we come down, it's a dictionary, so you go with A, B, you go to your C's, you go to cross, and it starts out saying the exact same thing that the witnesses are saying. It starts out by saying the Greek word for cross, stauros, properly signified a stake. Come down here, the Greek word for cross, stauros, properly signified a stake. So it starts out the exact same. It starts with the quote right here, and it goes to right here. Ground. So it says blah blah blah, impaling a piece of ground. Impaling a piece of ground. And that's where they ... What comes after the ... Well, what comes after the ... is really not the most troubling part. We'll get to that here in a second. But it says, but a modification was introduced as the dominion and usages of Rome extended themselves through Greek-speaking countries. So they're saying that, hey, yeah, originally it was an upright stake, but then a modification was introduced. Watchtower leaves out this section. They say, you know what? You don't need to know about that modification, son. You better quit looking at all this devil stuff and listen to what we're writing. Anyways, they continue on. They say, even amongst the Romans, the crux from which our cross is derived, this should sound familiar to you, appears to have been originally an upright pole. Appears to have been originally an upright pole, period. Not upright pole, comma. What's it say after that? Well, it says, and this always remained the more prominent part. Again, if something's the prominent part, there's a not so prominent part. There's a less prominent part, if you know what I'm saying. Now, the real damaging point of this is when it goes on to the last sentence here. And this is the one that they clearly left out for a reason, because the Imperial Bible Dictionary is not saying that they believe Jesus died on a stake, an upright pole. They're saying it started out that way originally, but by the time, and well, let me get to it, but from the time that it began to be used as an instrument of punishment, a traverse piece of wood was commonly added, not, however, always even then. It's important to add that because not even then doesn't agree with me. Unlike the Watchtower, I feel like you're an intelligent individual. You have the ability to use your brain to decipher what is fact and what is not. What this is very clearly saying in all those scriptures, this was saying a modification was introduced. They deleted that part. Always remained the more prominent part, implying a less prominent part. And then they just flat out say it in this final sentence, but from the time that it began to be used as an instrument of punishment, a traverse piece of wood was commonly added. Can you say for certain that Jesus died on an upright stake? Can you say for certain that he died on a cross? No, I don't really think so, according to this information here. And I'm not saying what I believe one way or the other. I'm just strictly speaking from a Bible standpoint. If you believe what you have here and you believe the Imperial Bible Dictionary, which the Watchtower does, is they quoted from it as a clear source of information. They quoted from it because they wanted the reputation of the Imperial Bible Dictionary, but they didn't want the facts that go with that reputation. When you actually look at the facts, you see that not only is Watchtower misrepresenting what the Imperial Bible Dictionary says, but they're blatantly providing a misquote that completely distorts what it's actually saying. In other words, they're lying. In one of the more recent videos, they put out something about apostates that said, if something is 10% true or 90% true, it's 100% false or something like that, implying that a little bit damages. In other words, if you distort something a little bit, you can completely damage how it's perceived. And I'll play it here for you so you guys can see.
Some unauthorized apps may include low-quality information that is only partially correct. Remember, if it's just 10% correct, it is 100% misleading.
How is this not the same thing? How are you not completely distorting that? Now you might ask, well, why would they do that? If it really doesn't matter and it doesn't change the belief in that at all, they do so because it creates a difference. It creates a difference between you, the witness, and the rest of the world. And when you finally realize that the rest of the world is filled with a bunch of really genuine good people, that's the last domino to fall. And so anyways, I hope this video helped you guys. I hope it gives you a little bit something to think about. If you want to see more misquotes, go look up the 2011 it's a November 2011 study article on when was Jerusalem destroyed, part 1 and 2. Not only did the individuals not support the Watchtower's belief in 607, but they were absolutely furious for the misquote, the blatant misquote, which makes it seem like they were in agreement. You could go on and on with the misquotes. That's just 2. Do whatever research you like. Or number 2, bury your head in the sand and ostrich it. When everybody around you believes the same thing, it's very, very difficult to look outside of that. What I realize is an ex-Jehovah's Witness, because even in my judicial meeting, they would make smart-ass comments like, well, yeah, Sterling, you know, you're the one that figured it out. What you don't realize is that there's hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people before me that saw this, saw all the other lies, saw the misquotes, saw the failed doctrine, saw the failed prophecy, and they've left. It's not you. It's not me. It's millions of other people that have gone down this path. So again, I hope this helped you guys, and I'll be back for the next one here. We're going to talk a little bit about the disfellowshipping arrangement, the loving arrangement of disfellowshipping. All right, guys, see you back for the next one. Have a good one.